Good morning and welcome back to the channel. This morning I'm out again early. All right, sunrise, a little bit of frost on the ground. It's still cool out, probably about 26, 27 degrees this morning. Sun's coming up, I believe, over here to my left. All right, so what am I out here doing this morning? Well, I've managed to get my hands on really the latest camera that's actually just been released. You know, a friend of mine had a version of it, or just got one on Friday, was kind enough to loan it to me so I could bring it out this morning and test it. So what is it? This is the new OM Systems OM1 Mark II Micro Four Thirds camera. Literally, this thing just started shipping last week. Now, from what I understand, it wasn't really scheduled to ship until the 26th, so they were able to get it out a little bit early. You know, a friend of mine was nice enough to loan it to me so he could bring it out and take a couple images this morning, test it out, and kind of share my thoughts or my insight on what I see using this little baby here. So I'm going to set up, take a couple images. As we do that, we'll talk a little bit about it, you know, and see what we can come up with. So stay tuned. All right, so a little bit about the OM1 Mark II. All right, the sensor is a 20 megapixel sensor. You know, a lot of the reviews and complaints and things I've seen online is that they're saying that all the changes or modifications here could have been just a simple, you know, firmware upgrade. And I've seen, I think Petapixel, the guys from Petapixel did a review where they said that it looked like, you know, there was some of the things in here that could not have been a firmware upgrade, and some things could have been. All right, supposedly it has improved autofocus. It has, you know, let's see what else. Hell, I don't even remember everything it's got. Oh, they added graduated ND filters built into it. It also has live ND, from what I understand. You know, I'm not quite sure of all the specs. I wish I was. I didn't have time to read up on it. I just wanted to get out and try it and kind of see what I thought of it. So, I mean, just looking at it here. I mean, here, look at the back of my screen. All right, so you can see the back of the screen. A lot of different things on here. Here's your, you know, this is telling you if you're balanced or not. You can see you have all the different things across the bottom, how you're set. And I'm set at the lowest ISO setting, which is 80. All right, for this particular model. All right, you can see how, you know, light's distributed here. You know, I'm focusing on that tree. You can see where that pops up. All right, I'm using continuous autofocus, but I'm not using tracking, which I guess is another thing this thing has. You know, if I were shooting wildlife, I'd probably do that. But again, you know, just taking an image. Now, what I am doing here is I have this on what's called high-res mode. And high-res mode takes this, when you've got it sitting on a tripod, takes this from 20 megapixels to 80 megapixels. So again, you can't see much. I'm shooting in RAW, so you really can't tell much if you're on the back of the camera. But, you know, 80 megapixels, that's a heck of a lot more than my, you know, Canon R5 ever had. It's only got 45. So, you know, does it make a difference? I don't know. I mean, we'll see when we get a chance to go through these images as we sit here and wait for the sun to come up. All right, so I'm going to keep taking a couple images here, and then we'll talk a little bit more. So hold on. All right, so it was cold. It's cold out. I had to put my gloves on. Sorry. I had to stop, put my gloves on. You know, just too much not having it, you know. So here's shooting this. You know, I've got one lens. All right. Yeah, it's the, what is it, the 12 to 45 f4, which is the equivalent of 24 to 90 in a full frame world. All right, so now comments here, just using it. You know, it's, the menu system's pretty darn simple to use. I mean, here, if I can, let's see. Here, I mean, you can see, just look across the back here. You know, menu system is pretty simple. It's color coded. You can know where to find things. It's programmable. You can program all kinds of settings into different buttons and set it up really to your like. It's got 4 settings in here where you can, you know, basically preset everything to work the way you want. You know, I mean, it's, you know, pretty well thought up and set up. All right, it has, you know, custom mode. That's what I'm trying to think of. Again, I'm shooting RAW, you know, which is how I always shoot, and I'm shooting in an aspect ratio of 4/3. This thing is, I mean, you can program the heck out of it. You know, the other thing I see here is, again, I'm going to compare against the R5, which I've been shooting for the last 3 years. So the R5 with the 24-105 is a heck of a lot bigger, a heck of a lot heavier. All right, and it doesn't. You can program it, you can customize it, but not like this. And the Canon menus are really good, but this is equally as good. I don't see anything here that, I would say is a problem. I mean, it's actually pretty darn nice. Now, one thing I'm going to try to figure out how to do here is see if I can come up with how to use this graduated ND filter. So, and I read nothing. I've just had this. I picked it up last night and brought it out this morning, and we're talking. It's 7 a.m. So it's it's not like I've had a lot of time. So let's see if I can find live. Here we go. And live GND shootings. That should be graduated, right? It's set to off. Looks like it's got a lot of different settings. All right, so now I turn it to on. All right, I don't know if you can see this or not, but it's pretty cool. All right, you can see there's a line across the back here. I just see my finger, so it wants to turn the screen off. Now, the question is how do I change that? Because I have never used this. Oh, there you go. I'm using the joystick here on the back. It allows me to, to drop the line. If you saw that. So now, let's take an image like that. Now, for me, I have never used graduated ND filters ever in my life. Never ever seen it, never used it. I mean, it's pretty slick that you can do that. All right, literally just by hitting a couple buttons. I'm sure if I knew how, I could probably program this in to where, it would, be real easy. Just hit a button and it's right there. All right, as opposed to a couple stops. And it looked like you can change it from, a low value to a higher value to just create more, shade, for lack of a better term, against the sky, which is really pretty good. Like this morning when I'm shooting, the sky's really bright. There isn't any clouds or anything out there. If I want to darken it, this is a great way to do it. And that's built into the camera. My understanding also is like bracketing is real easy to do. Even photo stacking, it'll do it in camera. Again, I've never done that, so I haven't got any ideas how that exactly works. I have to read up on it. But again, back to what I was saying earlier, this is, when you compare this against my R5 with the 24-105, I mean, basically you're talking the same camera, same reach. This is 20 megapixels to 80 megapixels, depending on how you have it set up, versus 45 on the other. The one thing I notice here with this is unbelievably light and compact, comparatively speaking. This is half the weight. Easily half the weight, and not quite half the size, but it's certainly at least a quarter smaller on the camera, and the lens itself, Jesus, I mean, here, look, I mean, you see here, when you look at that, the lens is really tiny. All right, there's just nothing to it. All right, it's pretty it's really compact and easy to use. This is pretty impressive, I gotta tell you. Now, what do the images look like? We'll have to see. And what we'll do here is when I get done, I'll throw a few images in at the end, so you can see them, and see what you think, your own opinions. Again, the argument here is you got half the size of the sensor. It doesn't capture enough light. You're going to get all kinds of noise. You're going to, I mean, there's all kinds of, arguments one way or the other, good or bad, all right? And then at the end of the day, to me, when I look at it, is every camera that's out today will capture good images, whether it's your phone or anything else. This is just one more, camera that's out there that offers a lot of different things. And again, the one thing to remember here with the OM system stuff, which used to be Olympus, their weather sealing is the best, all right? And their in-body or their image stabilization in general is better than everybody else's. I mean, this thing has 8.5 stops, or up to 8.5 stops worth of in-body stabilization. I mean, that's almost hard to fathom, right? You could have something like that, but yeah, it's out there. It's on the market, and it's available today. Now, what does this thing cost? I looked it up, $23.99. All right, that's what it's on the market at right now. And again, if it's something that interests you, by all means, check it out. Do a little bit of research, see if it fits your needs. But I can tell you, just sitting here playing with it, for a few minutes, carrying it over here. And again, it came out really simple, just the DJI Pocket 2, tripod, camera, and a lens. Nothing real fancy, but what am I seeing? I mean, this is pretty nice. I've been shooting full frame Canon system, mirrorless system for 4.5 years now, and to pick this up and come out, pick it up literally, just trying to use it for the very first time, not doing anything fancy, admittedly, all right, not doing anything crazy, just trying to take an image of a tree and a barn and the sun coming up off to the left, which really isn't doing much of anything. It's really, light's kind of flat, nothing really great, but that's what I'm trying to do. And yet you look at this and it's, this thing's pretty simple and easy to use. I mean, you can just pick it up and go. I have to admit, I'm quite impressed, kind of liking it, really kind of liking it. Man, this is pretty simple. I mean, it really is pretty easy just to transition over, so I'm going to take a couple more images, see if the light comes up a little bit better. All right, and like I said, here at the end, I'll put some images in so you can see it to make your own opinion. But from my standpoint, sorry, I'm by the road, but from my standpoint, I would have to say this is a win. I mean, this is, pretty impressive. Now, the images will tell for sure, but again, all cameras today can take great images, so I'm certain the images I'm going to get here are pretty darn good. I'm not really too concerned about that. This is pretty good. I mean, matter of fact, it's so good, it's making me want one. I'm not going to kid you, making me want one. I may have to pick one of these up because I'm really enjoying it. It's pretty portable, it's pretty small, pretty light, and easy to use. And a lot of features in it. This ND, graduated ND built right into the camera. That's kind of neat. I don't know how it's going to work when I go through the images, but I hope it works out as cool as it looks here on the camera. So we'll see. But again, I'm going to end the video here and just say thanks, for tuning in. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for coming along. Appreciate every one of you. Appreciate every comment, every like, every subscriber. And until we see you again, stay safe.